Greetings, YouTube. Let's talk about daycare. Daycare in the modern world is grossly expensive. I know I've heard discussions where people are talking about the fact that someone that was living in D.C., Washington, D.C., was paying $2,000 a month for daycare for a child. People having to pay more for daycare than their rent. That's absurd. If we want families to have children, and I'm not going to get into that argument, but if we do want that as a society, then we should be willing to supplement daycare costs. Safe, affordable, healthy daycare. And I believe there's a list mentioned in the article here where we're 28th out of 36 countries. We're behind Poland and Latvia, behind female employment levels, because women have to stop working to take care of their children because it's so damn expensive. And it's almost always women that do this. Very rarely do men stay home to do the daycare costs. In fact, of all the people I know who have kids, I know one guy that stayed home to do the daycare. And he raised his daughter as a stay-at-home dad until, well, I guess technically she goes to college now, so she's 16. So he just never went back to work. But that was how they broke that down, because his earning potential was less than his wife, because his wife's a doctor. But everybody else, it's always the woman that does it. Some families, of course, are lucky. They have a relative that can do it for them, but that's not always the case. We don't live in the extended family model that was once very common in the past. People can be spread all over the country. My sister, for example, lives in San Diego, while my mother and I live here in New Hampshire, as does my father. So there's not a lot of daycare support for my sister in that regard when it comes to family members. Fortunately, she and her husband both make good money, so getting daycare was less of an issue for my sister than it would be for many folks who don't have good paying jobs. My sister's a nurse practitioner. I think her husband works in internet or computer security. But lots of folks don't do that. And for example, and this will probably not surprise anyone who's actually paid attention, most people that earn minimum wage in America are not teenagers. They're adults. Now, if you're earning minimum wage, you can't afford daycare. At least not qualified, certified, official daycare. And you may be putting your child into less than ideal conditions in the hopes of earning a living. Heck, I was speculating about how Bruce Wayne could better serve the world, and one of the first things that popped into my head is he could have subsidized daycare throughout the entire state that he lives in, whatever state it is that Gotham's in. And that would massively have an impact on the people of his area. It would have a greater impact in America than free at the point of delivery college educations, because it would affect more people. Not everyone goes to college. Of course, we had free at the point of delivery, maybe more people would go to college. But, sorry, cat. We need to support people if they're going to continue to be productive members of society. And let's not forget that when women stay home, their earning potentials over the arc of their life are less. And not just the immediate earning potentials, as in like they're not at work earning a salary. They're also not accruing money towards their Social Security when they retire. They're not accruing things towards their 401k for when they retire. They're falling behind in the professional track of the industry that they left. And that ignores the impact of just having a baby on a person. Do you know how much it would cost to pay someone as a surrogate to have a child? That's how much women should be paid as your partner for having a child. That should be factored into whether your decision to have kids. And if you think that having someone stay at home and take care of your child is inexpensive, try hiring a nanny full time. That's what the woman in a relationship that stays home is bringing to the table. But society doesn't look at it that way because she's not earning a salary at that point. We're not treating her as a valued societal worker. And so why don't we have subsidized healthcare in America? I mean, daycare in America? Because for some weird reason in the Nixon era, social conservatives convinced the government that if you did that, it was a community-based child rearing. Guess what? Raising children is a community-based activity. If you think your child is your property, first of all, you need to see a therapist. And second of all, you're living in a fantasy land. You are a social creature. Every human being is. And your child is part of a social network. You're not raising a child in isolation. A child is raised as part of a community. The old cliche, it takes a village to raise a child, is true. And we need to treat children as members of society, not some extension of their parents, some organ that they have that at 18 they get to release into the world. No, their child has always been a member of society from the moment it enters the world. And society needs to make sure that child is reared in a healthy and affordable manner. Just expecting women to stay home and raise their kids after having borne the cost physically and financially of delivering the kid is massively sexist and plays right into the social conservative narrative of the patriarchy. We need to have affordable, safe, high-quality daycare in America, amongst the many other socialist things that we need to adopt. Because we're in this together. We are not all rugged individualists. Remember, those magic 3 words that I love so much, we the people, yeah, we need to remember them. And remember the we the part. Because we're in this together. And if we don't start taking care of each other, we're not going to be around for any of us to make it. So stop the bullshit libertarian rugged individual, I'll take care of my own and screw the rest of you attitude. We're a social organism and we need to be treating each other in a socialist way. So let's talk about daycare. Tell me your stories. Your own kids, what your parents went through, what your friends and family go through. I want to hear them. Let's get a discussion going. Because we need to help take care of each other. And that's way more important than the bullshit rugged individual myth that is plaguing America like a disease.